I recently started working on a large project, but within it, there are several smaller pieces. One of those is this sort of brick-like pattern, and for this maze, I need 2 of those. So I originally designed the first 3 patterns, and someone recommended a 4th way to make it, and that is what I'm doing here. First thing I do when I draw a pattern maze is draw the basic shapes of what is most important to see. That way I know not to draw any line through those shapes, otherwise it will kind of distort the final product. The next important thing about drawing a pattern maze is the directions of the lines. This is what really helps with the illusion of seeing whatever it is you want to be seen. In this case, bricks. And because I wanted these bricks to have a bit longer appearance, I drew the lines going the same way as the length of the brick, not the width. Now, what makes this maze a bit different from the first maze especially, is the use of smaller paths in between the quote-unquote bricks. This helps to differentiate between the mortar and the brick, and in my opinion, it does a better job of creating the illusions of the bricks. So this was the kind of appearance or method that was recommended to me, was to use these smaller lines in between the bricks as the mortar. And although I'm a little unsure, I think maybe it would look better if the smaller lines were actually on the bricks. That way the bricks had a more dark appearance. I still quite like how this turned out, and I don't know if ultimately it would be better or worse. So maybe I'll make a 5th maze and see. I'm not actually used to making a maze like this though. I don't usually change the width of the paths within my mazes. So this was kind of difficult for me to do. Because of that, I did some things slightly differently than I'm used to, and instead of waiting until the end to go over everything in pen, I did this in chunks. So I drew a bit in pencil, and then I trace over it with my marker. I'm happy I did this though, because I think I would have been even more confused about the paths that were a bit fainter. Since I drew the initial sketch in pencil and the lines of where the mortar was to go, it made things a little bit difficult because I needed to erase things, but the lines were small. So I did mess up at one point actually, even though I did try so hard to be careful, but it's not a big deal. I was able to fix it. So then at the end, I have to check that it is actually solvable. And I did mess up at one point, so I went over that in whiteout and checked one more time, and it works. I'm quite pleased with how this turned out. I'm very grateful to the person for their recommendation. It helped so much. It makes it look so much better than the first one. The first one, it was a little bit harder to see the illusion that I wanted, but it's much clearer in this 4th one.